Hello, the internet! It is Saturday, the 13th of January 2024, and welcome back to the channel. I got myself my first ever speeding fine recently, and it has caused me a little bit of grief. I want to talk a little about what the speeding fine is. I want to talk about how it happened, and then I want to talk about what this has kind of set off a conversation, which seems like a pretty decent idea, in fact. When talking about this with other people, in particular my sister's partner, he put forward this great idea, and it makes a lot of sense, and I want to pitch it to you guys on the stream here and see if it makes sense to you lot as well. Well, first of all, complete acknowledgement, I'm 100% in the wrong. Like, there's no denying, like I did the wrong thing. I was speeding. It really sucks because I've had a very, very, very good driving record my entire life. Been driving since I was, I guess, 16 or 17, whenever you can get your learner's permit back in the day. I've never really had... I always say I've never had an infringement. I actually have had an infringement before. I had a seatbelt infringement in WA back in 1996 or 95. But never had a speeding fine, never had a parking fine. So when this happened, I was a little bit... hold on a second. Just going to turn this off. Hold on a second. Thought I could hear some noise back there. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what it is. It's just an annoying an alarm. So, yeah, when this happened, I really caught myself, and I was like, man, I feel like I've let myself down more than anything. What it was, it's speeding through a school zone. So here in Australia, whenever there's a school in the vicinity, you've got to slow down to 40k an hour. Hey Siri, what's 40 kilometers an hour in miles an hour?
40 kilometers per hour is 24.85 miles per hour.
24.8 miles per hour. So you've got to slow down to that speed when school is in. And it's only between a certain hour. Like, I think it's between 7:30 and 9 a.m. and then again 2:30 to 4 p.m. or something. So there's these times of the day when you've got to be aware that if you're anywhere near a school, you've got to do 40. And of course, Australia being the way it is, they put schools on freaking main roads. So if you're on a main road, sometimes they're on highways. You've got to drop from whatever it is you're doing to this incredibly slow speed. Again, I'm not trying to worm my way out of it, because I definitely was speeding through a school zone. But I want to tell you how it happened, till you get the full picture. Speaking of the picture, here is the pictures of me doing it. This is for work. I was driving while working, if you don't know, I've got a sort of like a part-time gig where I've been driving shuttle bus from this area, this Jarvis Bay area, up and to and from the airport. And this is doing that run. Now, there's 3 photos. They're pretty much all the same photos. But I guess it just tells you where this happened, towards Wollongong, Princess Highway, West Wollongong. I don't know what this is. Incident number 17, lane 3. Offence, speeding. Speed limit 40, vehicle speed 48 kilometres, 30th of November. Time 3:56 p.m. So I want to talk about the timing of this happening, and I want to talk about how it happened. You can see from this image, I've just rounded a bend, and I'm actually going up an incline. And I'll just explain why this kind of caught me unaware. So in that particular location, you've just exited, well, I had, not everybody, but you can join that stretch of road straight off the highway, off the M1. So I was heading south, and I had to do a drop somewhere in that West Wollongong area. So I exited the highway. So you're doing 100, drop down to 80, drop down to 60. Then if it's a school zone, drop down to 40. So I'd exited it, and I was... Here's how I didn't slow down, because the exit is quite abrupt. It's quite a quick turn off. And as you're coming into that bend, you can kind of look to the right. We drive on the left-hand side of the road in Australia. So I'm looking to the right because it's not a set of lights. It's just a I guess it's a give way, or it's just a merge. Not even a give way. It's just a merge. You just merge into the next lane, into the next road. So as long as there's no cars coming from the right, you can just merge straight in and continue as you are. Now, what you can see from this image here, if I expand this in a little bit, this here, where my mouse is, that is the sign saying school zone. So approximately where this next vehicle is, they're in line with that school zone sign. So I've gone 1, 2, 3. You can see the lines on the lane indicators on the road. I've gone 3 lane indicators and I've still been over the limit. Now, why am I highlighting that? Because that's an incline, and I've come off this exit and I've been doing 100 and I've dropped down to 80. And in this vehicle, this is a newer vehicle we have. It's probably a better image here of it. These are Mitsubishi, a Kia, Hyundai Kia. This is one vehicle we have. With the other vehicles are Toyota Hiaces. This is the only one like this in the fleet of vehicles. And we kind of swap around from time to time, whatever the needs may be for the job. On this day, I was driving that vehicle. Now, again, not making excuses, but it's a newer vehicle, and it's harder to, it was harder for me to locate the clock to confirm whether I was in or out of school time. As it turns out, I was in school time, but only in time by 3 minutes. This happened at 3:56 p.m. So if that had been at 4 p.m., I would have been okay because the school zone wouldn't have been active. So as I came around that bend, there were no cars, so I was able to just cruise into that lane, and it's an incline. So I just let the vehicle slow itself down. I didn't put the brakes in. Now, that's my fault. I probably should have engaged the brakes, but I didn't. I just cruised around. I went, oh, sweet, there's no cars. In I go. I see the sign, school zone. Okay, cool. Well, as I'm going up, it's going to be dropping off in speed. I should be fine. Turns out within three line indicators, I hadn't slowed down to 40. I was still at 48, and I got dinged. So I'm not making excuses. I'm just highlighting how it happened. Now, I did appeal this. By the way, the fine total is 225 Aussie dollars and 2 demerit points. We start off with 12 demerit points, I think. I've never lost one, so I don't know. I've lost 2 now, but I've never ever lost one before. I think we had 12 to begin with. So I copped a fine and the 2 demerit points. So my initial response was to, oh shit, dude, that sucks. Can I fight this? Can I appeal? So I wrote a nice letter and I made the appeal. And in the appeal, I said, look, I'm a very good driver, and I explained all the things I explained to you guys just now. Knew your vehicle, didn't see the clock. I know it's just saying, couldn't find it quickly enough. Was coming in on an incline at dropping down from a fast speed to a slow speed within 3 minutes of the school zone not even being active. I wasn't going that fast, 48, 8Ks over. It's not that fast. Blah, 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 blah. They said, bad luck. Cop the fine. You sped. And they're quite forceful about it too. And in here it says, speeding in school zones, the facts. Traveling just 5 kilometers over the school zone speed limit can double the risk of serious injury to a child. I've always said, if it's such a huge issue, why the fuck do they put schools on main roads? They should be in the suburbs. But anyway, so once I realized that there's going to be no leniency despite my good driving record, despite years of good driving. And I will tell you this, when I went for this job, when I had to get my light rigid driver's license to do this job, I had to go and do another driver's test, something I haven't done since, I was 16, 17. I read up on the manual. I went and did the test. In that test, the driving instructor that took me out, he gave me 100%, a clean sheet. He didn't mark, he's got all these things that he had to mark off what I might do wrong. He didn't mark anything, and I got 100%, to the point where when we were back at the Service New South Wales centre, he held it up. He was like, and he pointed to his colleagues, and they were like, what's that? And he's like, and they're like, what? You gave They come over and they're congratulating me. They're patting me. They're like, this he's been working here for like 30 years. He's never given anybody a clean sheet, and you're the first. And I was like, Wow. So I'm just saying that I'm a good freaking driver. I'm just highlighting that point. I'm a good driver. I drove in New Zealand up and down the ski fields in snow, in blizzards, didn't have any accidents, didn't have any problems. Clean driving record in New Zealand, clean driving record. Blah 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 blah. They don't care. They're like, nah, dude, you sped. You now cop the fine. So with that in mind, I paid the fine. I'm never going to get another one, but it did raise the question, and the question is, or the scenario is, and this is what I want to pitch. Hello, David. How you doing, man? Sorry to hear about the story. Thanks, man. I guess I'm not looking for sympathy here. I'm more bringing this up so that I can get to this point. And it might be different where you live, but in Australia, I mentioned you get the 12 demerit points, and then you lose points as you mess up. And if you get down to, I guess, 0, your license is cancelled. So, and by the way, the points do reset. So I've lost 2, and I guess, I don't know how long it takes, but I guess they'll come back at some point. I don't, it just says you've lost 2 demerit points. So yeah, I guess I'll get those back at some point, but this is the situation that it raised. Why isn't there a system to reward good drivers, just like there's the system to penalize bad drivers in case I'm a bad driver, so I got penalized? So I don't really mind that this happened. I feel like I've let myself down more than anybody, but I don't mind that it happened. But I would also like to have the other side of the equation where, oh, you're a good driver and we can see that on our records. So here is a reward of sorts. Now, I'm not suggesting they should be giving out cash incentives or anything, but what about this? What about for as long as you drive and as long as you don't mess up, you accumulate a credit score, and the credit score gets higher and higher and higher, so that when you do unavoidably make a mistake, you just lose a little bit, but it doesn't get you down to the point where you would be getting a fine or where you'd be, at 0. So if you built up enough credit, you just lose a little bit of credit, and it moves. Because right now, this fine for me is the exact same fine that, let me just name her, Claudia, my niece. She's just got her provisional, her Ps. In Australia, you go from learner's permit to provisional permit. So she can now drive a vehicle by herself, like with nobody else in the vehicle. She's got to stick to under 100 Ks, but she can drive. So if she went through a school zone, she would get the same ticket that I did. She would get 2 demerit points and a $225 fine. And what I'm saying, or what I'm suggesting is, that doesn't seem fair, because she's just started to drive. So she's just entered the driving force, whereas I've been driving for 30 odd years or whatever. So shouldn't there be some like recognition of, hours contributed to the driving force, if you like, and therefore you're looked upon differently based upon your contributions, let's say. Heaven forbid we applaud when someone does something right. Like it's kind of like whenever someone does something wrong, you see it on Facebook. You'll see it on, I can't believe I got overcharged at Cafe Cookie Cutter, whatever. And then there's all these people, that place sucks, because no one ever puts in like, I got the greatest service at Cafe Cookie Cutter. These guys went over and above. They only ever do the negative post. Why can't we do a positive post where it's like, and in this case, we're doing something positive to incentivize people to do the right thing? Because I got to tell you, when this happened to me, it made me feel like I don't want to do this driving job anymore. I love the job, right? It's perfect for me. It fits into my lifestyle really, really well. People I work with, the owners, if you're watching, Annette, lovely and lovely people. Like, everything's cool, and I really dig it. And I like driving. Otherwise, I wouldn't have applied. Been doing it for a year. I have freaking love it. But the percentage chance of me fucking up again because of the amount of driving I do, that percentage chance has jacked up, right? So if you only drive, an hour to work in the morning and an hour back, 2 hours a day, your percentage chance of making a mistake and, doing speeding or I don't know, negligent driving or whatever it is, your percentage chance is far, far, far less than someone like me who drives for 8 hours a day, let's just say, or 4.5 hours and then a break, then another 4.5, 5.5, whatever the legal amounts are. What I'm saying is that percentage has jumped up. So the chances of me making another mistake is far higher than it would be if I didn't do this job. So when this ticket came to me, I was like, okay, I'm done with the job then. If this is what's happened, because it's never happened to me before, and again, I'm not trying to say that it's not my fault. I'm accepting that I did the wrong thing, but I want to avoid it happening again. And just by a numbers game, the way to avoid it would be don't drive as much. So don't do the job. Then I'm in a dilly of a pickle because I like the job and I don't want to not do the job, but I don't want to get a ticket. So I'm very, very vigilant, and I'm even more so now than I ever was, keeping an eye on it. Like, you're not going to see me do I'm not going to be speeding through a school zone. In fact, just yesterday or the day before, whenever I was last working, there was a dude fucking right on my ass. And I'm like, dude, I know he doesn't know, but I got a speeding fine. There's no, and he's trying to push me forward to make me speed. I'm like, dude, first of all, I'm overtaking someone. So this is another sort of strange rule in Australia. Even if you're overtaking someone, you can't go over the speed limit. So if someone's got their cruise control set to 100 or maybe 98 in a 100 zone, and my cruise control set to 100 in the 100 zone, it's going to take me a long time to pass them on a freeway, right? On an open highway. And you've got some Larry Long John behind me fucking right on my ass, and he wants to do 110. And I'm like, dude, I am not getting a speeding fine because you want to get past me. The point I'm getting at is if I wasn't driving all these hours, I wouldn't be having that happen. So if there was an incentive program to reward you when you do the right thing, this wouldn't feel as bad. When this eventually happens, because it's going to happen to everybody, right? You're always going to mess up at some point. You can't have a clean record forever. You'll always have something at some point in your history. So when that does happen, how about there's a little bit of leniency and a little bit of like, well, here's all your good shit, and there's one bad one, but look, that far, far, far outweighs the good, far outweighs the bad. Instead, there isn't. Let me just check the chit chat here. Hendrik, how you doing, man? I was on Kick wondering why you were ignoring me. Sorry, dude. Yeah, this is a YouTube stream. TKK, how you doing, man? There is a reward. If you behave on the road for a year, you get a demerit point back. It started last year. That's not a reward, dude. You already start with 12 or whatever the number. I think it's 12, but that's not a reward. So the reward is, now that I've lost 2, my reward is getting one of those back if I don't do anything else wrong for 12 months. That's not a reward. That's bullshit. It's called the Demerit Point Return Scheme. But what? So if you've never lost one, do you get in the green? Can you go over 12? Let's just say the number is 12 demerit points. Can you ever get 13? Can you build up to 15? Can you build up to 20? So that you can then lose from the green? I think you get all your points back after 3 years. That's not what have I not been clear about this? That's not what I'm saying, Hendrik or TKK. That's not the point I'm making. The point I'm making is if you don't do anything wrong, do you build, or we know you don't, but is there a way to, because I'm making a live stream about it, can they change the whole freaking system for me? I'm just pitching the idea. Hey man, in 10 years from now, maybe they do change it, and then this live stream will serve as like, hey, that guy was talking about that years ago. Little chance of getting dinged at crookies while driving. I mean, no, dude, I gotta tell you, there's more chance in suburban areas than there is on the open road. Like, and with these newer vehicles with cruise control and whatnot, it's very, very hard to speed. They even okay. So in this Hyundai, what are they? What are they called? What's this vehicle called? It's a Hyundai. Yeah, what are they called? Staria. What did I say before? It's a Staria. I don't know why I drew a blank then. But in these Starias, you can't even speed. If you've got the cruise control on, which I do have on nearly all the time, you can't even speed down a hill. The old vehicles, the Toyota Hiaces, you set the cruise control, and if you go up an incline and then it goes over the crest, you'll go over the speed limit going back down. So then you've got to engage the lower gear to keep it in. You engage the lower gear if you want to keep the cruise control on. The engine revs higher, or turn the cruise control off, coast down the hill, foot off the gas, and hovering over the brake, keeping yourself on the. My point is, I think my point's clear, right? Why isn't there the reward to make you feel like you've done the right thing all these years, instead of bad luck, dude? We gotcha. We finally gotcha. I know how you feel, Gifts. Yeah, it's not. I'm not that bitter, right? I'm not that bitter about it. I understand what I've done wrong. I get it, right? I get what I did. I went 8Ks over the limit through a 40 zone. It was within 3 minutes of that school zone not being active, but that doesn't matter. There's still kids around, man. You know, they build a school on the highway. It's just, there's kids. Just be aware of that. Yo, David. Logic says that you should get bonus points for good. Yeah, that's logical, H-man. Isn't that logical? Look, Australia has never really been that logical, but I don't think this is specific to Australia. I think this is sort of the way the system works globally. I don't think that there's anything unique to Australia about this. Maybe putting the schools on, main roads is a unique to Australia thing, but that's just the way this country was designed. It was kind of higgledy-piggledy. Everything was built on top of each other. I don't need to keep this anymore because I've paid the fine and I'm not getting another one. So watch me tear it up. I've paid it already. Don't worry. I'm just doing this because I don't like having it around. It's a little negative. So that's my point. That's all I had to say. If anybody wants to chat about it, we can stick around for a little while, or we can wrap this stream and then come back again on Kick and do a Kick stream where we hang out and just shoot the shit, listen, check out some videos, drink some beer, whatever. But yeah, that's all I really had to say on the matter here for this particular stream. Has anybody else ever had a speeding fine? How many speeding fines have you had, Hendrik? David, 2010, how many speeding fines have you had? TKK, how many speeding fines have you had? Let's go to Kick. We'll slide off to Kick. We'll come back on Kick skis and we'll hang out. And by the way, now that I've paid that speeding fine, I can then look towards getting my glasses finally, because I've just been sort of holding off on a few things with money. Even though yesterday's stream where we talked a lot about cryptocurrency, well, did you see it overnight? My portfolio went down $6,000 overnight. Didn't Dale tell us it's a very volatile thing, cryptocurrency? It's a very volatile thing. I've not had a speeding fine. Well, congratulations, dude. Let's hope you never get one, Hendrik. I'm just being silly. You will get one. You know it'll happen. All right, looks, we'll get out of here. Thanks for hanging out with me for a little while. If you got any comments, leave them in the comments section down below, and I'll see you guys on the next upload or on Kick in about 20 minutes for some more fun times. No speeding ticket for David. Well done. Well done. Get out of here.